At first, the Romans believed they were winning. Their enormous infantry column was driving straight through Hannibal's center. His front line bent backwards under the pressure. Every step seemed to bring Rome closer to the victory it desperately needed. But the retreating line was not the end of Hannibal's army. It was the door to a trap. On both sides, veteran African infantry turned inward. Behind the Romans, Carthaginian cavalry returned to the field. Tens of thousands of men were suddenly compressed into a shrinking pocket, unable to use their numbers or even raise their weapons freely. On the 2nd of August, 216 B.C., near the small Italian settlement of Cannae, Hannibal did more than defeat Rome. He created the most famous encirclement in military history.
Chapter 1. Rome needs a victory. The battle came during the 3rd year of the Second Punic War. Hannibal Barca had already crossed the Alps and destroyed Roman armies at the Trebia and Lake Trasimene. Rome still possessed deeper reserves than Carthage, but defeat after defeat was weakening its authority across Italy. The Republic answered with scale. It assembled an army larger than the forces normally placed under 2 consuls. Ancient accounts disagree about exact totals, but Polybius describes roughly 80,000 Roman and allied infantry with 6,000 cavalry. Hannibal may have fielded around 40,000 infantry and 10,000 cavalry. The Roman plan was direct. Their infantry would be formed unusually deep, creating a massive column designed to break Hannibal's center through weight and momentum. It was a plan built around Rome's greatest strength. Hannibal would turn that strength against them.
Chapter 2. The Battlefield. Cannae stood near the river Aufidus in southeast Italy. The open ground gave cavalry room to move, and Hannibal possessed both more horsemen and better cavalry coordination. He placed his Gallic and Iberian infantry in a curved center that bulged toward the Romans. African veterans stood farther back on both flanks. Heavy cavalry gathered near the river, while Numidian cavalry faced Rome's allied horse on the opposite wing. This was not a simple crescent waiting to close automatically. It required different units, speaking different languages and fighting in different traditions to perform separate tasks at exactly the right time. The center had to bend without breaking. The African infantry had to wait, and the cavalry had to win quickly enough to return before the center collapsed. Chapter 3. The Advance. After the skirmishers withdrew, the main infantry lines collided. The Roman formation pressed into Hannibal's projecting center. The Gauls and Iberians gave ground. Whether every step of this withdrawal was controlled remains debated, but the effect is clear in the ancient account. The Roman infantry moved forward and became increasingly crowded. Men entering from behind continued to push. The formation grew deeper and narrower. Units that should have maneuvered independently were packed together, focused on the enemy directly ahead. The Romans were still advancing. They were also losing the space needed to respond to anything beyond that advance.
Near the river, Hannibal's heavy cavalry struck Rome's outnumbered horsemen. The fighting was close and violent, but the Roman cavalry was driven from the field. Instead of pursuing endlessly, the victorious horsemen crossed behind the Roman army. They attacked the allied cavalry on the opposite wing, where the Numidians had kept Rome's riders occupied. Both Roman cavalry forces were now gone. The Roman infantry had no protection behind it, and Hannibal's cavalry was free to return. This is the part of Cannae that simple diagrams often hide. The encirclement depended not only on the infantry's shape, but on Hannibal winning the cavalry battle first.
Polybius wrote that the Romans were caught between the 2 divisions of the enemy. As the Roman column pushed beyond the original line, The African infantry on both sides turned inward and attacked its exposed flanks. The Roman advance stopped. Then the cavalry struck from behind. The army that had been designed as a weapon of overwhelming pressure was sealed inside a ring. Soldiers on the outside fought in every direction. Those in the center could barely see what was happening. Dust, noise, heat, and fear passed through a formation that no longer had a front. The pocket tightened for hours. This was not a clean geometric movement viewed from above. It was a human catastrophe at ground level. Chapter 4. The Cost. Ancient casualty figures must be treated carefully. Polybius gives the staggering figure of about 70,000 Roman and Allied dead, with around 10,000 captured away from the main fighting. Livy's total is lower, though still catastrophic. Modern historians continue to debate the army's size and losses. Whatever the exact number, Cannae was among the worst single-day defeats Rome ever suffered. One consul, Lucius Aemilius Paulus, died. Scores of senators and senior officers were lost. Communities throughout Italy received news that fathers, sons, and brothers would not return. Hannibal's losses were far smaller, but thousands from his multinational army were also dead. The scale should not turn people into statistics. The tactical masterpiece was also a field of grief.
Chapter 5. Victory was not enough. After Cannae, several of Rome's allies defected, including the powerful city of Capua. Yet Rome refused to negotiate. The Republic raised new armies, avoided giving Hannibal another battle on the same terms, and relied on its manpower, alliances, and control of the wider war. 14 years later, Scipio Africanus defeated Hannibal at Zama in North Africa. Cannae therefore carries two lessons. The first is tactical. Numbers become a weakness when an army cannot maneuver, see, or coordinate. The second is strategic. Even a nearly perfect battlefield victory may fail to end a war. Hannibal destroyed Rome's army at Cannae. He did not destroy Rome's capacity to continue. That difference changed human history. Strategy, sacrifice, history changed.